So my daughter is, of course, I might be a little biased, but she's a genius, and she is in a what's it called? A speech writing contest, like in school.
Oh,
Everyone needs to
yeah.
write a speech, and then teachers select whoever, blah blah blah. So she entered last year, and she got third place in the school. It was out of fourth and fifth grade. She got third place, and it's so funny. I tell people I'm a tiger mom. Like I'm like, you got a B? Why do you have a B? Why is that an A? So I'm not mean. I'm just involved in her.
Yeah.
Really involved in her thing. And
My
she's
parents were
writing the
like that
script.
too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You ask my parents now. My parents are like, yeah, we were like that. And me, I'm like, no, you weren't. No, I'm like this because I was like, I really needed that. Um, so she's writing a speech. I love her. She's writing a speech, and she's like, Daddy, I want it to be on my culture, on our culture. And I was like, oh, that's great, babe. And I'm Cuban, my wife's Puerto Rican. And I was like, yeah, we can let's work on that. And I read the first draft, and it was like she mentioned so sweet. Like she was like trying to get historical figures in there, and she
Uh-huh.
put in there Selena, the Mexican American singer.
Bitty bitty bum bum.
Bitty, bitty, bitty. Yeah, yeah. And in the same like sentence, or like she mentioned her, and then the next sentence she went in. She went in deep on how she died. Like I was like, okay. And then the
All
next
right.
one was like, or Roberto Clemente, who was a baseball player who died in the '80s in like a plane accident, plane collision. I was like, well, neither of that is our culture. So let's work on. So I was just working with her on some things, and she was like, okay. So it was a lot of fun.
This episode is presented by OITVOIP. Enhance your client's communication abilities with our VoIP solution, featuring integrated billing, on-demand training, and live US support. Collaborate seamlessly with Microsoft Teams integration and put your entire phone system in your pocket with Mobile X. Improve your offerings and increase profitability with reliable service for 1/10 of the average MSP acquisition cost. To learn more, visit OIT.co or dial 844-CALL-OIT.
Aw.
How are you, Alex? Alexandria? What is it? Which
Uh,
one would you
it,
prefer?
I do prefer Alexandria just because I think it sounds fancy and pretty.
It does. It does sound fancy and pretty. Both of them.
But
Alexandria.
I'm fine with Alex too if you want to chop it. I know it's a mouthful.
Nice. My middle name is Josiah, and I love that name. And I tried desperately in high school to get people to call me Josiah. And I think like I have maybe a handful of people, and there's maybe two people on Facebook from all those years ago. Hey, Josiah. I'm like, who are you? I don't. No, it didn't really stick. It didn't really stick. Awesome.
uh,
Hello, everyone out there in computer land, all you ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Welcome to 38 at 38. My name is Aaron Bolton, and on this podcast, we talk about ridiculous job stories. And I am so happy to have this guest for this episode, Alexandria Boyd. Alexandria. It has not Alex. Get that out of there. Alexandria is fancy and pretty. That's it. I love it. All right.
Thank you so much for having me on, Aaron. I was excited to come be a part of this with you.
I'm excited that you are here as well. The connection here is OIT, right? OIT is the parent company of MSP Media Network, which is the media network of that produces 38 at 38. We love you. We love you. Um, and I thought about before. I'm like, we've never talked. This is the first time of us talking. I think on LinkedIn, maybe I've commented or thumbs up and you've thumbs up. That's basically all it's been. And on one of the other podcasts last week was the Tech Bar podcast. Great, love it. Y'all need to check it out. It was ladies' night, right? And you were one of the
Yes.
hosts, and I happened to jump on. I was like, oh, what's this? And let me tell you, I loved it. I love the energy. I loved it. I was like, I think I even commented. I was like, more of this, more of this. I really love the switch up, and it was. it might have been that evening or maybe the next day, but I texted producer Phil. I'm like, "Hey, how come we haven't had Alex?" And we're like, "Oh, yes." Yeah. Oh, like, because yeah, so I mean, uh, uh, you handled everything so well, like yourself and like just the
Thank you.
I've had people on the podcast. I'm sure you've noticed people as well, like on different media content that you might be in where you're like, "All right, let's talk." And they're like, they
What do I say? What do I
what
do?
do
What
I
do I
do
do
with
with
my
my
hands?
hands? Yeah.
Right, right. So I was like, "Oh, definitely need to have Alexandria on here." So if you could just give us a quick rundown of you, who you are, uh, your what you do for a living, and yeah, we'll get up in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the director of sales and client success over at OIT VoIP, the parent company or just same owner of
Sister
MMN
company, yeah, same thing. Yeah.
sister company. Yeah, and I have been there for going on 3 years now. I love it. I am always a ball full of energy. You got me right there. I used to be a cheerleader, so that probably helps. I'm not too shy.
Love it.
And yeah, I like to have a lot of fun. I like long walks on the beach. I like to throw fire around sometimes.
Hold on. Uh, we're gonna unpack that one. So, um, all right. So first, beach, right? Okay, but I don't think you're joking on that. Do you like the beach? Are you in Miami?
No, I am not. So fun story. I actually saw the job posting on LinkedIn for OIT and that they were based out of Miami. And I was like, sure, I'll apply. I like Miami.
Right. Nice.
But no, I almost moved down there when I started working for OIT, but I'm actually in Atlanta, Georgia. But I do
Okay.
love the beach. If I'm gonna go on a destination, I'd rather it be warm weather over cold weather. I hate being cold.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I am a beach fan. Now you're in. Are you in like Atlanta proper like the city or like right on the
I,
outskirts?
I'm in the suburbs, just north, like 30 minutes north of Atlanta.
My sister lives 30 minutes north of Atlanta, so we gotta
Oh,
rap about that.
she in Cobb County?
That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. You'd think I'd at least find out because it's just the next state up from me, and she's been there a year. I should at least, find out. But yeah, and then my brother lives about 30 minutes north from there. Which look,
Okay.
same answer. I should know, but I don't.
It's
I don't
okay.
know at all. All right, awesome. So you do like the beach. You're not in Miami, and you're with OIT, right? So very
That
cool.
is right.
So I'm excited because well, I'm always excited for especially on this podcast for two reasons. I love bad job stories. I love hearing. I thought I loved them before, and then throughout the 2 years of doing this, or almost 2 years of doing this, I'm like, oh, I really love these bad job stories because one of the monikers that we have is previously stressful, presently hilarious, and that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Uh, if it's really stressful, give it some time, and it's going to be really hilarious. Uh, so uh, the format is just for everyone else out there that you will bring, and I'm sure you have brought a ridiculous job story. You tell your ridiculous job story. We banter back and forth. We talk about it, and then you have chosen a quote that one of the quotes that represents one of the jobs that I've had. I don't know what that quote is, and I'll ask you that quote later. But then, right off the fly, I've got to, uh, you know, not come up with, but just recall. And I like that better because it's not practiced. It's not
Yeah.
like most time. I'm telling you, Alexander. Most times you'll hear me go, "Oh, you know what? I just remembered. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that. I can't believe I forgot that." So this is fun. I love hearing the stories. I love telling the stories as well. So let's break it down, Alexandria. What golden nugget have you brought us today?
So, when Phil asked me to do the show, I started thinking about it. I was like, I actually have been very lucky with the jobs that I have worked, but there is one specific that definitely came to mind where I was just like, oh man, yeah, that job was absolutely just not for me. And it was when I was in clinicals for nursing school, actually. So it was a job
Oh,
for like credits because I was going through nursing school. And I went through took all the college courses to make it in and get accepted into the program to actually be able to do the clinicals where I was like working in the hospital. Um, Honestly, I was working full time while in school, at the job that I actually had before I was working for OIT, and I was not putting in 100% effort. So I didn't even think that I was going to get accepted
I
to
love
this
how
nursing
honest. I love the honesty. Yeah, it was like, look,
I was
don't tell
like,
my current boss.
when I got the acceptance letter to that nursing program, I was like, "What? Really?
Yeah.
You want me in this okay." And so I
You're
had to
fine.
go back and tell my bosses at the time that I had gotten accepted into this program and I had to quit. And I went back to waiting tables so that I could go do this nursing program. And
So you
about
waited
I
tables
don't
as well?
yeah.
Okay,
hmm
so look, I'm just letting you know right now, probably gonna bring you on to another episode sometime in the future where I just have people who've been in the restaurant hospitality industry because I have, and wow, I know you guys. I mean, there's some, I'm sure there's some stories there as well. But with the nursing, yeah, look, that's phew,
Nurses
nurses.
are angels. They are
Yes,
a special breed of humans. I am not that special breed of human.
you're special, don't you?
I am special.
Don't you?
I'm not angelic like a nurse. Those nurses, wow, they've got a special gene in them to be able to do that job. But I hated just about everything about that job. From I'm not a morning person. I am not a part of that 5 a.m. club that everyone raves about. I wish I was, but I struggle to pull myself out of bed in the mornings. And for the clinicals were over an hour away from where I was living, so I had to wake up at just a
Oh.
time that was not accepting with my bodily time clock. And so just the whole drive in was awful for me. I would get there before the sun would even come up. That was awful for me. And then honestly, like the smell of the hospitals, I hated that too. It was just like,
It's
it turned my stomach.
It's not a it's what is that smell? It's because
It-
it's almost plasticky and it's also chemically,
And
but it's
not that, but like the specific hospital I was at, the cafeteria smell that I had to eat in every day was like literally made me nauseous. I was like, okay, this is awful. And at that point in my life, I was not at like a place where I was doing any type of like meal prepping or preparing the night before so I could have it
right.
better tomorrow. Like I wasn't there yet. So
You're an evolving human being. All right? You're an evolving
exactly,
human
yeah.
being.
So that part of it was awful for me, and I mean, just the long hours, those 12, 13-hour shifts was, absolutely awful to me. I hated that part about it too. But there were a few a few different patient cases that I had to be a part of that I was just like, "Oh, nope, this is not for me."
Yeah.
And
So
so
you were going through clinicals, did you become a nurse? Did you go
Y
through finish the
so
schooling?
so I no, I didn't finish. I did 1 semester of clinicals and I was like, "Tap out.
Tap
Mm-mm,
yeah,
nope,
yeah.
tap out." I actually
Oh.
called my old job back and I was like, "You guys gotta hire me back because this is not working out for me. I can't do it. Like, please take me back."
Right.
And they did, so it was nice. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
so, you know, the main story that sticks out for me, there was, oh, well, I guess I should preface it with the fact that I got put into the med surge unit for clinicals. So med surge is basically the like patient for it's either it was so long ago, I'm trying to remember. It was either pre or post operation, like surgery, post op, pre op, something like that. So anyone in that like unit that we were like caring for was in a lot of pain, about to go into surgery, coming out of
Mm,
surgery, incisions, bandages need to be redressed. Like it was just all the nasty stuff. Like they
yeah,
literally told us that if nursing isn't for you, this will weed you out.
yeah,
And
you'll learn.
about 50% of the students in it like would drop after they had got placed into that placement or whatever. They called it like a weed out
Oh,
placement. Yeah. So I
right.
just happened to get that my first round and it absolutely weeded me out.
Oh,
But
good.
even
Well,
like
I mean,
the
good. You that
I honestly saved me
that
time.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so one of the patients I had to care for, I believe he might have been like a homeless man that came in. he had gangrene on his testicles. And that smell,
What?
I will
Oh, wait.
never forget that
Oh, wait, we gotta pump the
smell.
brakes. We gotta pump the brakes. Before we get into describing what the smell was. Okay. All right. So here's what something that I have a trouble understanding, or I don't, not that I just don't really know. I get the concept of gangrene, but I don't know exactly what it really is. What is
It's like
gangrene?
rotting flesh just from
Yeah,
not being
that's yep,
clean.
that's
Yeah.
what I thought it was. That's what,
So we had to change this man's catheter because, as a clinical student, the nurses already have the shit end of the stick, excuse my
yeah.
French. But so the students
Oddly
really
enough,
get
not French. That's not French. Oddly, hey,
uh,
let me chat GPT that. And
but yeah, so the students are getting like all the things that the nurses don't want to do. So you could imagine,
yeah.
the
Oh,
tasks that we got. That was one of them. It was absolutely awful. I was like, oh my God, this is not for me. I
so
cannot do this like ever again. Please get me out of here.
oh my. So okay. Walk me through that. Okay. I have to fortify myself for a second. So walk me through that. All right. So they're like, all right, you're just going from room to room, doing your thing, and okay, here's the next room. And I'm sure it was like it was like a double take. Or and they're
They
oh,
gave
oh
us, like, some stuff, like, you put on your nose, like, to help with the smell, did not help with the smell, and, I mean, even, like, sticking people with needles, I really wasn't a fan of that either, and, like, definitely the catheter things, I wasn't a fan of that. I mean, it's just I don't think when I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna get into nursing," I thought about all the things I was gonna have to do.
I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the most disturbing.
Oh, yeah, no, I got more for you, Aaron. Don't worry, I
Oh,
got more.
okay.
More is
Yeah, go.
coming. There
Okay, so
was,
we're going gangrene
also
testes. Okay.
there was also another woman that was on the floor that was working, and I don't know if she was just, like, bored or lonely, but she would literally, like, pick the poop out of her butt and, like, wipe it on herself so that we would have to go in and, like, clean her so that she would have, like, human interaction. Yes, I don't know if she was, like, maybe a little mental, what was going
Oh
on,
my
but
goodness.
that was another one where I was just like, "You know what?
That
No."
and my exit was not, "I can't believe she," because look, bless their heart, look,
And it's
we
sad,
don't
it is to
it's
think
sad.
that, like, that's how lonely they are, that's how, like, starved for
Right.
human interaction. It is very sad, and then there was also, all those types of cases too, where you just have, like, cases of neglect come in with, like, elderly people who've just been sitting in
Ah,
their beds, and they've got bed sores or, extreme
mm,
gout, and I would see these people 'cause I'm there every day, so I'm seeing them every day, but I'm not seeing any family members come in, and all I can
right,
think is like, "Oh my gosh, if it was my family member, I would be up at the hospital every day," like, I can't
right.
even imagine someone being there and not having any family come in ever. So that was just really sad to see, to be honest. And it was just always really sad. Like I came home every day just depleted, completely drained, super sad. I was definitely like a little depressed going through nursing school just
Yeah.
because of, that environment and everything that you see. Um, I even had there was one woman where she had was an ALS patient, and it was just so sad to like see someone go through that on, I mean,
Right,
total care. She couldn't do anything for herself, and I was just like heart wrenching to see and to that be your life every
right,
day. And
right,
I just started thinking, and I was like, you know what, like I don't think I can do this. Like this can't be my life. Like if this is because I was getting a taste of what my life was going to be like. I'm waking up, I'm going to the hospital every day. I have patient cases.
yeah,
This is what it is. If I continue down this path, this is my life. And I was like,
right.
this cannot be my life.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, horrible, feeling horrible obviously for the patients, but the is that like someone's got to do that.
Hmm.
Someone's got to do it, and yeah, it's not a pretty gig, it's and for the most people like my best friend in the world, his wife, we friends since high school. She's a nurse and she's like an up there nurse, but I mean, from the jump from, right after high school is nursing. And I know she's had stories and she's gone through that. And it's funny. My best friend and I, we talk about this. He brings up, he's like, man, she's just has the biggest heart, and she just loves, and she just gives and gives. And that's great for her. And it's not like she enjoys that, but the value to her of doing those things outweighs the the work putting
Oh,
in,
as
and
like
that's
I
a
a
very special
special
person.
breed of special
Yeah.
breed of human.
Right.
To
Right.
yeah. I was not that strong. I was not that strong. It was yeah, I couldn't handle it. It was so sad, and I was just yeah, I just felt completely drained every day when I would come home. I would come home most days and just cry. And so I
Oh,
was like, yeah, I was like, I can't. So yeah, I called my old bosses back and I was like, hey, like, I don't know if you've found someone to fill my position, but like this whole nursing thing is not working out for
oh,
me. I am not happy. If there's any way you guys would take me back, I would love to come back because
oh my
it
goodness.
was kind of funny. I was basically when I was had started out at that job, I started out as an executive assistant and oh hi Ra.
I don't know why I jumped. I was like, ah. Is that a hairless
This
cat?
yes, my naked baby. This
I
is
have never
Raw.
met anyone who actually has. Oh, look at those eyes, stunning. Oh, the name's Raw.
Ra, like the Egyptian sun god.
They- Oh, awesome, very good.
Yeah.
That is.
He
I could do the rest of the podcast just on that cat, by the way.
There's another one running around here somewhere. I don't know. We'll see if she jumps up. I'm babysitting my girlfriend. She's got a naked too, and so I'm babysitting her. She hopped up at my screen earlier today. But yeah, it's my baby.
And the
Um,
what type of cat?
it's a
We're gonna divert. Just, we're gonna,
detour
yeah,
squirrel. They're a sphinx.
they're called Sphinx.
They're
That's
called sphinx cats.
I've never met anyone who owned one, who had one. This is the most live I've ever seen. One of the, it's always been on TV or movies. It's like I almost don't believe it's true.
Yeah,
That's pretty, but that's so cool.
so yeah, their breed is very cuddly because they're always cold because they don't have any hair. So
Yeah, it
they
makes
just
sense. Of
they want to be on you
course.
because they want to steal your body heat. I tell myself it's
Yeah.
because he's in love with me, but it's really because he wants to steal my
Right.
body
Right.
heat.
Yeah. Of course. That's so
Yep.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Ra's a pretty dope name for
Right.
that
I
cat.
thought so
Yeah.
too. I thought so too. Yeah. We got Ra Oris after the Egyptian sun god.
Nice.
Yeah, I've always been obsessed with Egyptian culture. So
Very cool.
every time.
I noticed on that's when I know I liked some stuff on your LinkedIn. I remember you went to Egypt, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a big bucket list for me that I checked
Yeah,
off
that's awesome.
this past previous year.
That is
Yeah.
so cool. So all
Yeah.
right, look, detour. Okay, so let's talk a little about that because that's pretty cool. And I'm sure anyone's listening is like, hold on, we got to double tap. You got to double click on that cat and double click on going to Egypt because that's something that I'm sure is on
Yes.
so many people's list, but that you went
Oh my
and
yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It was me and three other girlfriends. We decided to take a girls' trip. We were there for about 3 weeks. Flew in to Cairo, did the Great Pyramids of Giza first. We actually did some like travel blogging research stuff, and we found this restaurant, Khufu's, that is actually on site, like at the pyramids, and so you have brunch with the pyramids as your backdrop.
come on,
It was absolutely
come
stunningly
on.
beautiful, breathtaking. We went like walked up and did the whole tour of the pyramids. We got to go inside some of the tombs that were like open for travelers. I didn't book my trip on purpose this way, but we just so happened to schedule our trip during Ramadan.
Oh,
So, yeah, so it's a different experience because they practice fasting, and so a lot of the
right.
places weren't open because they fast for the most, majority of the
6 to
day, and then
6,
they
sun up to sundown.
yeah, exactly. But it was also really cool because it wasn't very touristy during that time.
Right.
So there weren't a lot of people out. So we kind of had everything to ourselves, which was nice. And also, we got to do like a traditional Ramadan breakfast. So we went and actually
That's
went out in the
dope.
desert and did like ate with the locals, and like it was absolutely amazing. And we were there long enough that we were actually there when Ramadan finished. So we got to participate and eat dinner too.
That's so great. That is
Yeah.
what an awesome experience. That's
Yeah,
really
it was
cool.
super cool.
Oh, awesome.
Definitely
All right,
by
well,
far one of my favorite trips for sure. Highly recommend it if you've been thinking about going. Absolutely go. The people are amazing. It just all the culture and just seeing, all the pyramids, the tombs and all the colors and how they're preserved and still so vibrant after so many years. I mean, we're talking BC,
yeah.
it's wild.
So you said something that made me laugh, and it's something that so I went camping with one of my best friends, or my best friend, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about uh places he wants to go, and he was looking at places to go see, like the best place in the world to go see the aurora borealis, right? So
I want to, yes.
that huge bucket list, we're talking about it, and he said, yeah, this person, a friend of his on Facebook, she and her family went, and he pulls it up and he's showing me the pictures of this place in I think Norway that they went, and there was like a this beautiful cabin that they stayed in and everything, and the whole thing was, I think the whole week excursion, everything was like 5 grand. And I was like, that, for like two kids, two
Yeah.
adults, I was like, okay, that's to see something like that in Norway, grand. And then he's like, yeah, he showed me this picture that just looks, I mean, unreal, just unreal. And then we joked about this the whole camping trip, because in the comments, she's explaining it. And then one of the last things she said was, definitely one of the best vacations I've been on. And we were like, one of what? What are the other ones? And that's what you just said. You just said definitely one of my best trips. I laughed. I go, wait, hold on. Going to see the pyramids, I mean, Egypt, all of that. One of your best. What? All right. So, what other trip? Just give me one other trip that's like that
Oh,
great.
I did hot air balloons in Cappadocia, Turkey.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Look,
Okay.
I don't have kids. I'm not married. Ra is my only child, so I travel.
Right. No, that's great. But even on that, you're like hot air balloons. And at that point, I was already agreeing with you. I was like, yeah, that's a different form of air travel. And you're like, in Turkey. Okay.
In
Yep.
Turkey.
Definitely.
Yep.
That's so cool. Okay. All right.
So to bring it back to the bad jobs,
Right.
that was
Right.
actually why I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a travel nurse so that I could just work from
Oh,
anywhere. When I was going to school, remote work wasn't quite as big, so I was like, oh, I'll just be a travel nurse and I can travel everywhere, go around the world, see everything. And then I realized very quickly that I was not suited for that life. The travel
right.
part, yes.
The travel.
Nursing,
Love it.
no.
Yeah. Love that travel part. That's
Yeah.
great. All right. So, all right. So yeah. So back to nursing. So I got it. So how long were you in that?
Oh, 1 semester and I tapped out. I was like,
And
"Mm-mm, not going back." Yeah.
done.
Mm-mm. Done.
Done.
1 semester of clinicals, it weeded me right on out. I knew it was not for me. I called my mom so upset because I was really trying to, like, stick it out and finish
Yeah.
because I had just changed my major so many times. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. It took forever to figure out what I wanted to do. And, I was really, really trying to, stick this one out and finish. I wanna make my parents proud, and I just called my mom and I was like, "Mom, I can't do it, mom. I
Oh,
can't do it. I hate it. It's awful. I'm depressed." Like,
yeah.
and she was like, "Honey, if you're that unhappy," she's like, "just figure something else out." But
Right.
like I was gonna say before, as it turned out, what I would have made starting out as a nurse after graduating, I was already making at the previous job I had. So I was like, what am I doing? Like,
Right.
just you
Yeah.
already had it. Go back.
Yeah. So you had travel, and you're like, okay, nurse, I can travel. Then yeah, at that point it's like, okay, take off the nurse, travel. What can I do to travel? What work can I do to travel? It's definitely a little different. That,
Yeah, exactly.
that's why. Well, that's good. Good that you figured it out so quickly. When you quit, was it like a kind of like walked away, or like did you give notice, or it was in a class, right? So
Yeah, I finished out the semester and then I just let them know I wasn't going to be coming back.
yeah, it's a
I was
great
like,
experience. So thank you for the
thank you
experience.
so much for the
Appreciate that.
experience. Learned a lot about myself
Yeah.
and
Gotta help
others.
some people. Yeah, and You know what? I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Like this really
Yeah.
long speech to leave, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, you're one of the 50%. We get it. We get it."
Yeah, they were like, yeah, we knew, we told you this would happen
Yeah,
on orientation day. So
that's
yeah,
great. Dude, yeah, that is, yeah, that's whew, that's rough. That's rough. Mm, the gangrene and the poop flying, or the poop
yeah, yeah.
that you're taking care. You think, and I've heard about that from my best friend's wife, and she's like, and she's like, yeah, you just got to do it. And I'm like, all right, well, she says it so clearly, but put me up against that. I'm with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't. Nope.
I was taking care of my grandmother. She's getting older and she's been losing her eyesight for many years now, and she's got, early onset dementia. And so I was living in the house with her and taking care of her. We recently moved her into an assisted living, facility where they have 24/7 nurse care. But that
Right.
was like my barrier for my mom. I was like, I will stay, I will take care of her, I will do all the duties until it comes time for like the
Right. Right. Right.
the bathroom duties.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally get it. Totally. Like, I'm so squeamish, and I say I'm so squeamish, but I've noticed now after kids, like it's just I can't I can't do a double take. I mean, this is my kid. He's throwing up. I can't just be like, oh, nope, nope. I'm like, okay, nope. That's cool. I got throw up on me. Let's keep rolling. Can't even think about it. Can't even think about it. It's fake. That's what I do. Whenever something like that happens, like this is make believe. This is make believe right now. That's fine. That's fine. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
look, hats off to you. Had I had, I would tip it to you for going and trying that. That's whew, well, no more. No more. Don't have to
No,
deal
no,
with that now.
and now I know for certain it was not for me.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you. That is a good story. That is yep. That goes that marks it up there. I appreciate that story. Appreciate you offering that story up. I get to tell you my story, and we're gonna do that right after a break to pay them bills. Like I've got to log in and pay my bills. No, we got to have some advertising, amazing advertising, and go.
Here at the MSP Media Network, we have a greater responsibility to recognize women not just for their accomplishments, sales, productivity, and products, but for their direct impact on the MSP channel. Our newest show, Channel Impact Awards, will spotlight the mentorship, charitable works, and behind-the-scenes, above-and-beyond behavior that often goes unrecognized. Our first season of Channel Impact Awards will award women of the channel for their incredible contributions. We hope you'll join us in our commitment to highlighting the exceptional women of the MSP channel. Please scan the QR code on your screen now to nominate a woman you know for the Channel Impact Award. You have 2 weeks to nominate someone you know. Stay tuned on the MSP Media Network for more information on the Channel Impact Awards, including our esteemed panel of judges and the first set of award-worthy nominees.
And we're back. All right, Alexandria, thank you again for that story and those stories, and also thank you for everyone who saw that advertisement and immediately went out and purchased or did whatever that advertisement asked you to do. So I appreciate that. I know you did it. 100%.
We've got some lovely listeners. Of course, they listened. They and
Yeah,
executed properly. Surely,
immediately they
immediately,
did. And
absolutely.
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of them. All right, Alexandria. So I get to now share with you the story, and it's funny. Every time I get nervous right now, like because I'm like, okay, and so far it's worked out. It always like, oh, what am I going to talk about? What stories are gonna? But I'm sure it'll be grand. So go ahead and hit me with that quote.
Oh yeah, it was easy choice for me. I read this one and I was like, okay, I wanna know that story. So it sucks that you got a fever, but my friends are in town.
That guy, that guy. All
I was
right.
like, wow, did someone say this to him?
Oh yeah, yeah. That sucks. Sucks that you got a fever, but my friends are in town. So uh, I talked about a job previous job to the one I'm going to tell you about, where I was working at Bank of America. I was working at Bank of America, and I was also doing stand-up comedy at that time. And I explained that before that. While doing stand-up comedy, I was also on a morning show, radio show, and then there was like some gag that we did, and it was a wild thing. And then ... I was asked not to work at the bank. I was like 19 years old, and it wasn't anything bad, but it was just like, yeah, maybe. The quote from my boss at that time was, and the quote from that I used on the show was, maybe you should just become a pool boy. And at that point, I was like, excuse me. But looking back, I was like, man, I should have become a pool boy. I should have done.
You're
That
like,
would
that
have
would have
been
been great
great.
for me. I could have
Right.
totally handled that.
Right. So I left Bank of America like around noon that day. I left, and I was like, all right, well, let me swing by and grab some lunch. And there was a sub shop just down the road that we always ordered from, and they came in, made their deposits. And every time I joke with the manager there, the manager was, I was 19, he was 18. He might have just turned 19, and he was the store manager. Like the restaurant, the sub shop manager, and it was a restaurant or chain by the name of Lenny's Sub Shop. Lenny's Sub Shop was delicious. They taught me how to make a Philly cheesesteak. I mean, so good. And at that time, so I remember I went right in there. I was, in a shirt and tie because, that's what I had to wear at the bank. And I walked in, and the assistant manager was, but Brian and J. Paul. Brian was the manager. J. Paul was the assistant manager. They were best friends and roommates. And J. Paul was like 21, I think. And both of them like potheads. Both of them fun, hilarious potheads that were running this this store that was really successful. I mean, it was right outside of like the business district in Tampa, and I mean, line out the door, busy. And it was, had inside seating and everything, just line out the door. And I walked in, and I was like, hey, they're like, what are you doing here? I was like, I just got fired or let go, or actually, it wasn't fired. It was, you know what? Maybe this isn't right for you. If you quit, then we could hire you back. So he just didn't want to do the paperwork to fire me. And I was like, okay, all right, sure, I thought that was a good move, 19 years old. So I was like, yeah, I don't work there. And they were like, oh, that sucks. And I was like, hey, are you guys hiring? Because if anyone listening to this or listen to this, I'm always working. I do not like no downtime, usually 2 jobs, and so they were like, you just got let go. I was like, yeah, I know. I need a job.
I
Like,
need a
I'm
job
not
now.
I can't go back home without a job. I can't get back to my apartment. I wouldn't feel right. And so they were like, yeah. I mean, they're looking at me in like a shirt, buttoned up in a tie, which I'm just some 19-year-old kid that they asked me to dress like that. It's not like I chose to dress like that, so they were like, yeah, can you be an assistant manager? I was like, yes, I can. Absolutely. Sold, done. So I was the assistant manager or one of the assistant managers for Lenny's Sub Shop. So finding out a little later after I was working there, the reason why these 2 guys who were, pretty young, and I'm not saying they weren't responsible. They were responsible. 2 young, goofy, wild, fun guys are running this store, this restaurant that's like really busy, is because nepotism. So Brian was Lenny's son. Brian was Lenny's son, and at that point, I think there were 50, I think 54, 55 Lenny sub shops, and they had opened up for franchising, and I think there was licenses of like 300 something. Like this thing was about to blow
Wow.
up,
Okay.
about to explode, and I was like, yes, go for it, let's do this. So I was so they brought me on. Oh, that's right. See, this is one of those. That's right. Brian wasn't the manager. Brian was the assistant manager. J. Paul was an
Okay.
assistant manager, and Brian hired me as an assistant manager without telling the manager.
Okay.
But you could do that when you're Lenny's son, I guess.
Yep.
And Ernie was the manager. He was this big dude, like tall, like I don't know, maybe 6'3". He was an adult. I was 19. This guy was like an adult. And I remember he had big hands. I remember he had big hands because a few times when he was upset with me, he'd be like, "And you got to do that," and he would poke me in my chest, but like his two fingers were like this.
Yeah.
Just a
Like,
big
whoa,
dude.
bro. Personal
Yeah, he
space.
and yeah, watch out. That was a wild time. It was fun, but it was so cool to leave from it. Just kind of fit in with my personality at that time. I was doing stand-up comedy. I was doing stuff on morning shows, and Bank of America just didn't fall within because I wanted to have, more fun, and can't do that at a bank. So I started working at Lenny's Sub Shop, and it was just a blast. I mean, I got to just be out there and just charm the crowd when people are waiting. I was cleaning up the tables and making people laugh and taking orders. And hey, let me get that. It was just fun. It was just like a little circus that we had going on. Ernie. Oh, I gotta Ernest. Oh, I gotta find out where that guy is. He's a funny dude. He's a really cool guy. He is the one. All right, a mic drop, right? Everyone knows the mic
Yep.
drop, right? So I had them. I was doing stand up, and they all came out to see me do stand up one night at the Tampa Improv, and um, and I'd never at that. We're talking 2002, right? 2000. I'd never seen a mic drop. I'd never heard of a mic drop, and like multiple times a week had a mic in my hand, like it was before mic drops. Now I'm not going to say that I invented mic drops. But I
Are you
remember,
there
I
a mic
remember,
drop?
I remember, I closed my set. It was people were clapping, and I looked over at Ernest, and he goes, just like he said, just like that. I don't know why he said, but
You're like,
I looked at the crowd, and I dropped it, and and people are laughing. I walk off, and the host picks up the mic and just lays into me, just makes fun. He's like, "Man, you know how much that this is worth? Man, this microphone's worth more than you make in a month, probably more than a year." I mean, just and rightfully so. Like I dented this $300 microphone, So
oops.
out there, guys, don't never do a mic drop with someone else's mic. Okay, get your own mic. Um, yeah, wow. J. Paul, for some reason, I was okay with this. We had, cookies and brownies, but like he would call me Brownie. That's probably not the best thing, but I was like, yeah, hey, and he would always he would do it with an Italian accent. I don't know. He go, hey, it's a brownie, and I was like, hey,
All
it was
right,
just
dude.
Ernest was not for some reason. I think he was like, I don't remember him being there. That's what it was. See, one of these, he went and opened up a different store. So
Okay.
shortly after I started working there, it was three guys like 19, 20 years old running this store that is one of the busiest stores of all the 54 stores, all the 54 restaurants. And we just had a blast just being goofy. Next door, next, next door was a Great Clips. A Great Clips, the best haircuts in the world. Barber or salon, and the manager of the Great Clips, she would come in, every day for lunch or whatever, and I would flirt with her. I would just flirt with her. I'm 19 years old, flirting with her, and she was 30 years old with like 3 kids. So I'm like, I'm just gonna flirt with her. And she'd kind of flirt back, not really, but kind of shy and super sweet person. And I've asked her a couple times, like, when are we going to go on a date? And she's like, "Oh, you're so young." I was like, come on, 11 years, her senior, and I'm like, come on. And she's like, no, constantly turning me down. And I went to get my hair cut from her one time, and she's cutting my hair, and we're talking, and I said, so listen, seriously, why don't we go, let me take you out on a date. And she goes, no, we don't need to go on a date. Why not? She said, and this is just sales. So she's like, you need to hang out with kids your own age. That's what she said. And I was like, I'm gonna work this. And I was like, kids my own age, all right, okay. Finish up the haircut. And I was quiet. I was a little ego hit. I was like, kids, I have an apartment. I'm a child. I'm a child. And so at the end I was quiet, and at the end of the haircut, I went ahead and paid. I was like, all right, hey, no, thanks. And she said, okay, well, I think, maybe, yeah, I think we can go out on a date. And immediately I was like, okay, cool, thanks, appreciate it. All right, let me get your number. No, I already had a number. I was like, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and I'll call you later. Thanks, bye. And I just took off. And I know she was like, what just happened? I thought he was upset or mad. No, no, I was playing my game. 19 years old. That's all I had. That's all I had. And we ended up dating for like 10 months. And I was closer
Okay.
to her age. I was closer to her son's age than I was to her age.
Did y'all play
She
video
had,
games together?
uh, yes. Yes, we did. PlayStation
Uh-huh.
2. Yes, we did. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun time. Yeah, she had 3 kids. So I was like, "What am I?" And obviously it ended because I could provide nothing. Like I couldn't even provide like emotional support. I don't even, I barely knew my emotions at 19 years old.
Some laughs, Aaron. You provided some laughs.
That's it. That's that's really all it was. Just like a chuckle. Hey, 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 just throwing out jokes here. Golly, I had a lot in common with her kids. We watched
She's
the
like,
same cartoons.
I thought I was getting a boyfriend. I got a 4th son.
Yeah, basically. I mean, she would get so because I don't know, for some reason she loved Papa John's pizza, and I would put like animal crackers on my Papa John's pizza only because I would never did it before, but they were there, and I was like, yeah, let me see, and I was like, hey, this is pretty good, and then she was like, that's ridiculous and that's so immature. I was like, oh, is it? Well, I actually enjoy it, so I continued doing it. So, which is just completely proving her point of how immature I was. I love them. I love animal crackers on Papa John's. But this story's not about her. But I thought that was funny. What am I even doing? What was I even doing there? So that was a fun time. So they were opening up a new location. They opened up a new location, and um, somebody was taking over that location, and me and Brian were supposed to go and be co-managers. I don't know if Lenny, and I met Lenny quite a number of times. I don't know if he was like, I see something in Aaron, or it's like, you know what, I can't. I gotta have both of them are half good. So maybe if 2 half good. Maybe that'll pull out one good, one good. Um, so we went and opened up the other location in like a newer, posh, kind of built up area in Tampa, and yeah, that was loads of fun. But now it's Brian being, I don't want to say spoiled, but being, he's no, not even being spoiled. He was 19, he was to 19, 20. He just wanted to be 19 and 20. And so did I, but this was like his only job. To put it in reference, he had been fired 3 times by his dad since since he was 15. So from 15 to 20, he'd been fired 3 times by his dad. So um,
Oh.
so we're running this, and we're having to hire, people. We're having to hire high school senior, and this is I'm lucky I had a right sense of mind at that point, because I was like, dude, we cannot use this as like a pickup spot. First of all, you might be 19 and those girls might be 17, but that is still not good. We are not doing that. And so that was a conversation that often came up. Uh, wow, I remember. Wow.
He's
So
like, this Aaron's gonna get my boy straight. We're gonna keep him around.
yeah. Oh no, I don't know. He didn't like me. Lenny didn't really like me either. Like I said, I think Lenny thought we both were half good. I really do. Yeah. He came he came in one time, and it was like around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It was after the rush, right? So I went in the back and I was making a sandwich, and I was making up my own sandwich. It wasn't anything that was on the menu. It was just something I was throwing together, kind of trying to make like with the ingredients they had there, trying to make a Cuban sandwich. So I
Okay.
threw some meat, and I had meat like on the. I was just it was just not making a mess or anything, just doing something different. And Lenny comes back. What are you doing? I told him, and he's like, huh. And he walked out, and I hear, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." And Brian comes back. He's like, hey, man, throw that away. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, just throw that sandwich away. Why? Like, my dad's pissed off that you're making food that's not on the menu. And he's saying, so what, is my food not good enough? My food's not good enough. My menu isn't good enough. He needs to make up his own stuff. Like, whoa. So
I would have been his worst nightmare almost everywhere I go. I am that person. I'm like, I want this, but can you actually hold that sauce? And noticed this sauce that's on this dish. I want that
right.
sauce. And then can we also add some pickles?
Well, what's wrong with a little remix?
Right?
What's
I
wrong with
love
a
a
little
good
remix?
remix.
Right? Hey, look, R. Kelly had Ignition, and even though no one likes it, we all agree, not a good. But I think a lot of people would be, oh man, Ignition remix, song. Ignition remix is so
Hot
good.
and fresh out of the kitchen.
Oh man, yeah. Not with Lenny. Hot and fresh out of the kitchen. It better be something on the menu that was hot and fresh out of the kitchen. Yeah, he did not like that. So I know he didn't. And from that moment, that was before we had moved completely to the new location. I knew he didn't really. He was just like tolerating me, and I wasn't. I don't know why, but that's fine. Whatever. But that gives you maybe a little snapshot. I know that's one story, but there are multiple. That's maybe a little snapshot into ego, into this person's ego, where this is the way I'm doing it, blah blah blah. And, hey, but what if you do it this way? Okay, I'm not trying. All right, I'll just Philly cheesesteak then. I guess I'll just have a Philly cheesesteak. They're great too, I guess. Well, I remember one time. Wow, this gets personal. So we were at it was evening. The place was open. We opened until like 8, and it was like 6 o'clock. I mean, we were open, and a couple people inside eating, and somebody walks in the door, and I recognize him like that, and it's my mom's ex-husband, and this dude was not a good guy, and they had been divorced since I was 14 years old. And I mean, I had, as kids, teenagers, I was like talking to my best friends, like, if I ever see him, I'm gonna knock this dude out. I'm gonna beat him up. All this bravado as like a team. But this guy, he's a bad dude, just not a good dude. Like a punk, like not a good dude, punk. Either way, he comes walking in, and I just looked at him, and like all these emotions are coming in, like what, like. And he walks right up, and he starts. Oh, and I was by the register. I was supposed to go get his order, and he walked right over there, and I just stood there by the register, and he kind of did a double take and looked around, came to me. He was like, hey, I'd like to order. And I said, I was like, you don't even know. And he goes, what? Because I used to
Do you
be,
not
last time he
recognize
saw me,
you?
I was short. So until I was 16 years old, I was short and overweight. Like I was a short, fat kid. Like I was the last one to get picked. I was the, oh, you're such a great friend, I like you as a friend kind of guy. Like that's why I had to adopt being like really leaning into funny. Because that's really what it was. And then, but I'd slimmed up and I'd worked out some, and that cat is awesome. Golly, this big cat. But
Whatever he wants. The sun god over here.
yeah, fine, raw. So so he comes in. I said, just pointed at myself. I go, Josiah. He knew, my family knows me as Josiah. I go, Josiah, and he goes, oh man. And he gets a smile. He's like, oh, it's been. And I cut him off. I go, we're closed. And he goes, what? I go, we're closed. And he looks around. There's people eating there. I mean, people are walking in too. I mean, we are not closed. I was like, we are closed. He's like, but I said goodbye. I was like, goodbye. We're closed. Goodbye. Go. And he got so mad. Just the look, no words, but if looks could kill. Like what was it? Salt and Pepper said, if looks could kill, he would be an Uzi. He's a shotgun bang. He wanted to, like, he was not happy with me. Man, I forgot about that. I haven't seen him since, and if I see him again, I'll tell him we're closed. We're closed.
Sorry, no soup for you.
No soup for you. So,
No soup for you.
so rounding out, it was what's cool is that I was just able to really express myself. Like I could just be fun and not be too serious, which was really great. Um, then so I had this thing, and that was probably one of the last times this has happened. Uh, when I was, I think, as early as 6 years old, whenever I would get a fever, my fever would spike. For all that, the most I know, it's a connection to the shots that the DPT shots that kids got back in the 80s up to the early 90s, that they realized, whoa, side effects, not doing this anymore. So they stopped with those shots. But um, D is diphtheria and high fevers and everything. And that's the closest that I can do the research. And from what my doctor says, it's probably a reaction to that whenever I got a fever, it would spike. And this would be once a year. And it would, I mean, I'm talking about, it would spike to 103, 104. Like it
Oh
was,
wow, yeah, that's high.
and yeah. And it was one of those things where it wasn't even like, it couldn't even take me to the hospital every time. It was the same thing. It was okay, put me in a bathtub with ice water. And for 4 days, it would spike at first. It would slowly start coming back down. But for 4 days, I would hallucinate and I would have the same
Oh my gosh,
hallucinations. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
that's
I'd have the
wild.
same
Yeah.
hallucinations and I would know, like, as a teen, my dad or mom would be like, oh, which one are you on? And I'd be like, oh, the walls were just moving. So like, I would know like day 2, this would happen, day 3. It
Yeah.
always
And
started
it's the
when
same thing
everything
every
was
time?
every
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was weird. Yeah. Tell me about it. So, so I got sick and I hadn't gotten sick like that in a couple years, I think. And it spiked and I was sick. And, Brian had friends in town he had friends in town. And I told him, I was like, look, man, I was like, I am dog sick. He's like, man, I need you to come in. If you're able to come in, come in just for half the day, because we were both working or what was it? No, he ended up opening for me. He's like, dude, I'll open for you, but then just come in a little later and then, you'll be fine. Then end up working the whole day and
You're
you'll
like,
be fine.
I will not be fine.
I was like, that's why I was like, dude, I said, look, I'll help you. I'll come in and I'll try to help, but dude, I don't know what good I can be, what good I'll be, and I can't do it. So, anyways, I came in, and I started working, and
Still went in?
well, yeah, because I'm ride or die. I was like, I got you, and I went in. It was like maybe 102, something like that, but it was rough during the lunch rush too. I was like, I wasn't extremely productive. I was like trying to do a
Yeah.
little bit here, and this is now. I mean, this is like a sickening to my stomach after living in this post COVID world. Thinking like, you had a fever, you did what?
Yeah.
But I'm old, so back in the day we could do that. In the early 2000s, no excuse. But the lunch rush was over, and he was like, and I was in the back on like a milk carton, like a milk crate, sitting down on a milk crate, my hand in my face, and I was like about to get up and leave. I remember walking out. I walked out of the back little the little doors that the swinging doors, and I saw him walking towards the back door with his keys in his hand. He was just gonna dip. He was gonna dip out and not tell me. And I was like, "Hey, man," I said, "Dude, I came out to get you. I gotta go, man. I'm done. Like I'm sweating. You can
Yeah.
tell. Like I could feel
You
me hot. And
visibly look. Yeah, probably sure
oh,
you were. Yeah.
not good, not good." And he's like, and then he said, "Dude, my friends are in town. I haven't seen." It's not like they lived in North Florida. We're in Central Florida. It's not like I haven't seen them in forever. My friends are in town. We're gonna go out. We're gonna have some drinks and everything and blah blah. I was like, bro, I'm sorry, but man, I gotta go. He's like, look, Aaron. And I remember putting his hand on my shoulder, like he's like a dad, and he was like, look, Aaron, it sucks that you have a fever, but I gotta go hang out with my friends. And I was like, the look I gave him, I was like, I said, you're gonna have to bring him over here. I said, I'm out, man. I'm out. He was no, you're not leaving, Aaron. You leave, you're fired. I said, you're gonna fire me for leaving when I'm sick, man? Really? I said, nah. I said, that just tells me enough.
Lenny,
I said, yeah.
Lenny.
I said, that just tells me enough. I said, I'm out. I'm out. And he was yelling, cursing at me, walking out. I mean, he was not happy. I get in my truck. And I go to leave, and there were 2 sales reps from Alltel cell phones. It was acquired by Verizon, but that was one of my previous jobs I've talked about. The manager and the sales reps would come in, and I remember, hitting the corner and in the parking lot and saw them walking back from welcome Moe's, from the Mexican restaurant. And they were like, dude, they waved, and I kind of slowed down. They were like, what is wrong with you? Like, it was visible that I was jacked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was like, I think I just got fired. It's like, what? I was like, I'm sick. And I went to leave, and he was, and both of them were like, don't worry, man, we got you a job. You need to come in. We'll hire you. We got you. You're great. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yep. That was my next job. I went from to the next.
What
Like,
a story. That's great though.
yeah, the next day, look, I got. It's like what's it called? I came in on that plane, landing in the Lenny's from another place, and I took off, and I was like, I'm gonna pick this one up too. Hop over here. So I feel. I mean, when having all these jobs, like, man, you had another job, yeah, but I tell that story to people, like, what would you do? Like, you just say, would you just take it? Everyone agrees. No, you did the right thing. Like, yeah, sometimes you gotta, and that's when I realized. So we talk about reflections, and I'll ask you a reflection, but just because I'm in this mode right now, that's when I realized, like, you gotta put you above your job. You got to put you above your job, your health, your wellness above your job. And I wish I stayed. There's certain lessons that you learn in life over and over again. Each time you learn them more, you learn them deeper, more facets of them. And that was one of the first times I've learned, like, whoa, my health and my wellness is so much more important than a paycheck,
Absolutely.
definitely. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was able to take away. So I'll ask you, Alexandria, what were you able to take away from your experience doing the clinicals?
Definitely that nursing was not for me, but also too, I think that I had enough credits to graduate, but I actually never graduated because I didn't have enough credits in one major. So I think the big takeaway for me was that while going to college, having that piece of paper is nice, it is absolutely not necessary. If you can go out and find a job, get some experience under your belt, and learn as you go. I mean, that's the best school you'll ever have. So
100%.
yeah, experience, right? So I
Yep.
think that was a big takeaway for me because I was just, I think, really wanted to graduate because it was something that my parents really wanted me to do, and I really
Right.
wanted to
Right.
make them proud. And I was the first in my family to even go to college to do any further type of education, and I think it was more something I was doing for them than for me. So similar themes of just living for you and your goals and your desires and your dreams, and not trying to make someone else happy, because ultimately it's your life. You've got to be happy with the life that you choose. So
That's so
if you're
true.
making decisions for other people, trying to make them happy, ultimately you need to make yourself happy. If it makes other people happy along the way too, that's great, but ultimately you got to live with yourself. So
Alexandria, that is a beautiful sentiment that I wholeheartedly agree with. Absolutely. And I think that I can't say anything else on top. That's a perfect way to wrap this up. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Alexandria, for being this guest, a guest on this podcast. Wonderful story. Thank you for sharing. I hope when you get a good story, it's polite, it's respectful to give back a story of equal or greater, right? And I hope I at least gave back equal to your story. I really do. So
oh,
thank you so
absolutely,
much.
absolutely. No, I've had so much fun with you, Aaron. Thank you so much for reaching out and pulling me on the podcast. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you so much. Awesome. Everyone, thank y'all so much. See y'all later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.